Hello and welcome back to the Squirrel Heed YouTube channel, and today we're going with transfer talk, and we're specifically going to be looking at Liverpool, but I'm going to include a couple of others because there hasn't been the biggest amount of news going on. There's obviously been a big bit of news that's happened for Liverpool, but there's not been a great deal of movement that I've personally seen, but I will have a look at some of the others that are going on in the Premier League as well. But to start off with, what we're going to look at here is some of the people that have been linked with us apparently in the past week. This is courtesy of LiverpoolFC.com. And obviously one of the ones I've covered before, Jordan Amavi from Aston Villa, who've obviously been relegated since then. Still, again, not a great deal to be reported on that one, so I'm going to move on to the next one until we obviously get some more news on that one, because obviously we should be looking for another left back, but see what happens with that one. Another one that's apparently linked with us as well is Andros Townsend, which I'm not entirely sure on, only because he kicked on quite well for Newcastle at the end of the season, but it was kind of like a little bit of a, too little too late, and not entirely his fault that they got relegated. In fact, it's not his fault whatsoever they got relegated. It's just a fact of how their club has been ran, and obviously Benitez was brought in far too late to be able to rescue that campaign. I think even if he was given another 5 games, so he was only given 10 games, if he was given 15 games, I think Newcastle would have survived. They were really starting to look quite good, quite well drilled, especially in that match where Tottenham just fell apart at the end of the season 5-1, and he was a linchpin to their good performances. Would I take him at Liverpool? Not entirely sure. He's got talent. It's just that he's not. I can't really say he's not consistent though, because he didn't really get a good. From what I know anyway, and I might be wrong. Do correct me on it if I am wrong. But I'm not entirely sure that he got a great deal of run-out time when he was at Tottenham. When he was at Newcastle, he was obviously getting quite regular. Well, he was playing regularly, and he made a good contribution there. In a better team setup, with more creative players, would he do better and would he do good for us? I think he could. I think there's no reason why he couldn't. And I think the way we're going with transfers, we're not looking at your stereotype. We're not looking at blockbuster signings, which I think obviously that's something that we have to get out of our heads. Is that the signings that we're going for aren't your blockbuster signings? But I have a great deal of trust in Jurgen Klopp and his track record with signings. That anyone that he brings in, if I might question it for a second, I have to believe that there's a purpose behind it and that he's going to be doing something really good with them. So, we don't have any wingers as far as I'm aware, apart from youngsters and maybe Markovic if he's coming back. But I did hear that apparently he might be leaving at some point, but I haven't got anything solid on that one, so I haven't really said anything about it. But apparently other clubs are meant to be interested in him. He's quite a cheap player compared to other ones that we've bought in recent years, and possibly this year as well, but I'll get onto that one. I think I'd give him a shot, but I would still prefer, I keep going back to it, I'd rather see like an Alex Oxlade-Chamberlain sort of player who doesn't seem to be getting anywhere with Arsenal, and he's a talented player that just he hasn't been unlocked yet, and he hasn't been given the chance by Arsenal. But I think if we were to bring Andros Townsend in, would I be disappointed? Not really, but I wouldn't be overjoyed either, and I don't think anybody would really be overjoyed that he would be coming to Liverpool. But he would give us something different, give us, fuck it, yeah, no, I would take him, because thinking about it, right, and thinking about it, I'm just thinking, he would offer us something that we don't currently have, so far, whenever we've played anybody out wide, we've been playing Coutinho out wide, which isn't his position. We've also been playing Lallana out wide, which I wouldn't say that's his position either. He hasn't got a great deal of pace, he's got a lot of skill, creative player, but we don't have anybody that can really run the wings. Now, if you bring in someone like an Andros Townsend and another signing that I'll come on to later, that changes the game for us completely, because then we can settle Coutinho, Firmino, maybe Lallana in those middle positions. I know I'm talking like as if, well, where's Henderson, Milner? Just forget that for a second. You've got those creative players that can stay in their like number 10 or around those number 10 positions, maybe rotate them, or have 2 number 10s, wingers and a striker. Who knows? But you've got your creative players where they should be, instead of having to attack the wings, cut inside and maybe try a bit there. Maybe it would offer up, he would obviously have more of a purpose running down those wings, giving a lot of trouble to defences on that, and he would actually, I think he's still young enough where he could still develop and make a big impact. So yeah, those are my thoughts. Anyway, there's not really a conclusive thought there. I do realise, but those are my thoughts. I wouldn't be disappointed if it happened, but well, we've just got to see how it develops. Wow. Now, what I should say as well is I haven't actually seen this page before. I saw it flash up, and I thought, well, I'll have a look at it and see who's being linked with us. Apparently, Marek Hamšík. Now, Hamšík has been, like, obviously the star player for Slovakia in the Euros, and he has played really well. He scored one blinding goal, which was exceptional, and he has been the bright light in their team. Apparently, according to the Daily Express, papers and such, I don't care how reputable they might be, it's just paper talk. And obviously, that's what this is all about. Transfer talk, paper talk, that's kind of what it is for Liverpool. We get linked with so many different players over the years, it's unbelievable. So we really do have to take it with a pinch of salt when it says the Daily Express or the Telegraph, and God forbid any of the red banner ones. Apparently, according to them, we've lodged a €45 million, 34.8 million bid to sign Marek Hamšík. It went on to allege the Reds had offered a 4-year contract to the Euro 2016 star, who is also attracting interest from Manchester United and Chelsea. Right there, when they include that bottom line, where it says that it's linked with Manchester United and Chelsea, I haven't seen any news whatsoever, apart from on Liverpool website now, just looking at this. I've not seen any news whatsoever that's linked Hamšík to anybody in the Premier League. Link me to some in the comments below, because I'd really love to see if he has actually been linked to any of the others, or whether this is just paper talk and just generating a bit of, flapping of gums and stuff like that. Very good player. Very, very good player, I would say. However, where is he going to fit in the team? Like, out of who we've got, or would this be a reaction to say if any of the earlier transfer window talk of Coutinho moving on, if that actually goes ahead or something like that, would that be a reaction and bringing in someone like him? Who knows? All I know is what I've seen with him at the Euros, and he's been quite a good player. Obviously, there's only so much a star player like that can do in a team that isn't really up to his standard. And that is also saying that, as I don't really know many of their other players apart from Skirtle, obviously. But, I don't really know. As of right now, where we are with the players we have, I don't know who is going to come out of the team, or who would be sold or anything like that. I'm not entirely sure. He's a good player, but I'm just not sure where he would fit in at this moment. So those are my only thoughts right now. I can't really get swayed either way whether we would take him or not, because he seems a bit out of our price range, I'll be honest. Another one coming in is that we've been linked with Mateo Kovacic. Now, we were linked with Kovacic before he signed with Real Madrid. It really hasn't done him that much good signing with Real Madrid, because as far as I'm aware, he hasn't started many games, or if many at all. Like, I can't remember him really starting, apart from maybe some cup games or something like that, like the domestic cup games. But apparently we were on the brink, again, according to the Daily Express. Don't know where they're getting all these players from, but apparently we're on the brink of securing a 23.2 million deal for the Croatia international. Again, quite steep for a player that yes, he's played for Real Madrid, but is that all playing for Real Madrid? Oh, he's played for Real Madrid, so like we'll bang on another 8 to 10 million on his price, because what has he proven by being at Real Madrid? Has he done a great deal? Like, I watch quite a lot of La Liga games because it's quite accessible on Sky Sports. I watch quite a lot of La Liga games. Didn't really ever remember seeing him on the pitch a great deal. I think he was actually on the pitch a bit more with Benitez when he was experimenting with the team at the start of the season. But I don't know a great deal about the player. Haven't seen him play a great deal. So it's not one that I would really be... I'm not going to put a great deal of faith in or anything like that. If anything more concrete comes out, I might have a bit more of a look at it. But right now, I don't think that'll be going ahead. I think that's just pure paper talk, just as it is most of the time with Liverpool. Apparently we're linked with Nuri Sahin again, so obviously we've had Sahin at Liverpool before. Didn't really work out because Rodgers didn't play him in the correct position that he likes to be played. Didn't really, I always remember in a pre-season game at one point he scored like a 30-yard right across the grass goal, and I thought that was pretty decent. And then after that, he just didn't get played, and that was when he was on loan. He's worked with Jurgen Klopp. Again, it comes from TalkSport. There's really there's not a great load of detail to any of these, just TalkSport reported speculation. So there's no concrete evidence to this, and this is probably TalkSport again just flapping their own gums just to get us like either a little bit excited or, oh look, we're doing loads of work, even though like the club themselves haven't really reported anything about any signings, which they shouldn't until someone is signed. I fully believe in that. You don't report on paper talk unless something is genuinely going to happen. So again, it's another one I'm going to dismiss. Martin Odegaard. Really? Now, we were linked with Odegaard when Rodgers was in charge. And, you know, he's a young lad, 16-year-old. Obviously, it's come out in the last week or so. Carlo Ancelotti's done a biography and said that Real Madrid signing Martin Odegaard was a pure PR experiment, which you can kind of see because I think he only got one start or something like that, or he came off the bench for Ronaldo or something like that when Ancelotti was in charge, and then has been basically down with the Castilla, the second division team, when it was with Zidane. You know, apparently it's reported that, again, the Daily Express website, that Jurgen Klopp is or was eager to bring in Real Madrid's Martin Odegaard. Doesn't say why. Where's he going to go? How are you going to develop that player? Because he's already got such a big reputation of being, I think, a teenager on 80 grand a week, which was ridiculous at the time. Where you then, if you're going to pay someone or you're going to bring them from Real Madrid, you then have to pay them more than what they're already getting at the Champions League champions. What are you going to be able to offer them? Especially us, who we finished eighth. We finished eighth last season. No, we didn't bring in any silverware. We came close, but close just isn't. You know, no one remembers second place. Always say it. You're then going to have to offer him a boatload of money when he's 17 years old, which could then unsettle any of your first team players. How are you then going to take out any of those first team players for someone that's not proven at the top level, who's not broken into there through La Liga or anything like that? It's not one that I would enjoy bringing in. Yes, he might be a very talented youngster, but he's still only 17 years old. Not one that I would be wanting to move for. Apparently, we're also linked with someone called Rashid Ghezal. I think I'm saying that right. I hope I'm saying that right. Apologies if not. Apparently, us, Middlesbrough and Celta Vigo and Villarreal are interested in the Algeria international from Lyon. Again, reported by the Daily Express. I mean, Daily Express must just have like several pages just dedicated to Liverpool at the moment, because this is quite ridiculous how many that they've reported for us. I mean, thanks for all the coverage and that, but again, not a player. I don't know I don't know anything about him, I'll be honest with you. So maybe you guys can shed some light on something here, help us out a little bit, because I don't know anything about him, so I can't really say anything. That's just that apparently he's been linked with us. Apparently Liverpool are keen to sign Ben Chilwell from Leicester, left back, obviously a position that we are looking to strengthen or completely renew in light of Moreno's, I hate using the word failings, but I do have to use that word in reference to Moreno's end of season last year. Didn't have a complete collapse of a season all season, and he wasn't the only player that didn't live up to the billing, especially in that defence. When you looked at likes of Skirtle and stuff like that, who for some reason had a blinding match against England last week, but then he has these blinding matches which are really, really good, and then he'll have like several really crap matches where he just can't do anything. You know, Moreno's not the only one that was failing, but he does need to at least have competition. So we're not just relying on Moreno. He's not looking like the best left back that we've got, never mind in any other team. Again, 19-year-old, 10 million. It's a lot for someone that I don't believe, you know, I don't believe that. Would he be worth that at 19? I'm not sure. Yes, he's got a lot of potential and a lot of room for growth, and probably a bit more solid than Moreno is already, but I'm just not entirely sure on that one. 10 million seems a bit steep for me, but we are obviously willing to pay over the odds for most players, because we're going to have to, because we can't offer European competition, so we are going to have to pay over the odds with a few signings, but we can't pay over the odds on every signing. Otherwise, we really need to be looking at whether we should be making them. Honest to God, nearly thought that said Douglas Costa when I was scrolling down. That would never happen. But Douglas Santos. So apparently we face competition from Arsenal for a Brazilian defender, Douglas Santos. Apparently, we are yet to make an offer for the Atletico Mineiro left back, but we do hold an interest. At least it shows that we do have an interest in looking at that left back position and hoping to maybe strengthen it or replace it. Again, another name that keeps popping up, Zielinski. So apparently Liverpool Echo claim Liverpool must wait until after Poland's interest in Euro 2016 is over before pursuing midfielder Zielinski, which is fair enough. He's at the Euros, he's at a competition, absolutely fair enough. Hold off on that one. And I totally agree. I think obviously leave them alone while they're in competitions and stuff like that. There's plenty of time after the Euros. Once the Euros is wrapped up, you know, it's not that long away until it's wrapped up. So again, but I think if we are keen to secure a deal, then great, that's fantastic. It can only mean good things to bring in a couple more players, especially someone who's 22-year old with a lot of potential as well. Right, okay. That's not one that I saw coming. So apparently we're linked with Nani. Daily Express website, Liverpool have joined the race to sign Nani. A 6.5 million release clause can be activated to secure the Portugal international from Fenerbahce, it is claimed. No. Now, not... And again, you guys know by now that I'm someone that can take bias out of every news article or anything that I hear. This is totally nothing to do with him being like an ex-Man United player. I don't give a shite about that at all. But I can't remember how old Nani is. Is he in his 30s, 31, 32, something like that? I think a talented player, very very talented player, but he's very hit and miss. And he's been hit and miss. He was hit and miss at United. He was hit and miss in the Portugal team. You know, he was a bit more consistent with Fenerbahce, but there's probably a lot less pressure there. Not one that I wouldn't want to see, because again, we've got enough hit and miss players of our own as it is, and I love all of our players. We've got enough hit and miss players as it is. We need some players that are actually going to give us a bit more consistency, and this isn't a signing that I think would do that. Apparently Liverpool are linked with Andrew Robertson from Hull. Apparently they've refuted claims that they would be willing to sell Andrew Robertson. So again, another left back. So obviously again, we're still pursuing that left back position, which is good. Lining up quite a few alternatives by the looks of it, just in case. So that's quite good. But obviously, if Hull are saying that they're not going to be selling him, that's fine, no problem. If they're not willing to sell, you can't make them sell. And another one that came out in the last couple of days was Marco Piacca. I think that's how you say it, not entirely sure. Again, I think this is just rumour at the start, again, by a Red Banner paper. Apparently we're considering a swoop for Marco Piacca. A number of European clubs are interested in the player, according to his agent. Again, agents, who knows whether they're telling the truth or not. Very hard to predict. Again, it looks like it's just pretty much just a rumour. So that's all we can say right now. Now, moving on to the biggest one for Liverpool so far, and one that has caused a little bit of controversy between a couple of fans and such like that, is Sadio Mane.
So I'm interrupting myself because I'm during the editing stage of this video, and since I recorded that, and I recorded that actually yesterday, so this evening is Tuesday. I recorded that video on Monday evening, I believe. Since then, it has now been official that our new number 19 will be Sadio Mane, and the deal is apparently reported to be somewhere between 30 million and 36 million. As I said in the video previously, that I can take the money out of it because, to be fair, A, I'm not dipping into my own pocket, and B, money is that ridiculous in the Premier League, in world football, in modern football these days. It doesn't really matter what you pay for. But at the moment, as I'm going to go through all the stats between our similar players that play in similar roles, such as obviously Phil Coutinho and Lallana are the two ones that I'm comparing. But I'm very happy for this deal. I really am. I think it's, and I'm not just because, it's all the trust that we have in Jurgen Klopp. And I do have a great deal of trust in Jurgen Klopp. If it's someone that he's been pursuing for years, which apparently he has been since he was at Dortmund, and not just since we got completely dicked by them last year, in last season when we were winning and he came back and they beat us 3-2. Well, it happens, and it happens quite often to Liverpool. Anybody that remembers the classic 3-3 to Crystal Palace. Anyway, I'm very happy with this deal. I really am. It gives us something that we are missing, which is the key thing, is to make a sign-in like this, make a statement about our team, and we're bringing in someone who is going to give us what we are missing, not filling in like a midfield. So it'd be no point going and getting a midfielder because we've got plenty of them. We've got plenty of creative ones and good talented ones. No point in going for a striker because we've got 4 or 5 of them. Defenders and such. We've got them coming in. We've got Matip coming in. We've also got Joe Gomez coming back from injury. So we're going to have a lot more options there. Obviously, depending if Skirtle's going to be going out. I'm very happy with this acquisition. I think it's a great signing. Can't wait for him to have his full pre-season and get, hopefully get flowing straight away, scoring goals, creating chances, and causing trouble for other defences.
Sadio Mane is apparently, as of today, has completed his medical at Liverpool. There was pictures of him at Melwood giving a thumbs up and a smile, and he's completed his medical. And apparently it's a deal that's meant to be being announced. Now it's for 30 million, which made me balk at the first time I heard that. 30 million could possibly be rising to 34 million. But then you have to reason with the fact of why are we paying that amount of money? Yes, we have paid vast amounts of money for players in the past. Obviously, we are looking at likes of Benteke, who we paid 32.5 mil for, I think. Looking at Andy Carroll, who was 35 mil. Players that haven't necessarily settled or done very well for us. And it has given us a bit of a track record of making signings that are expensive, that don't always, they don't always cut it at Liverpool, or they don't perform at Liverpool. Some of those may have come also from Southampton. Before, obviously, people keep saying, you see little tweets here and there saying Southampton, we're like Southampton are a feeder club for Liverpool and stuff like that, which is bullshit. Like, yes, we do take a lot of their players. We have had a lot of their players, but I don't believe that we buy a player just because it's like, oh, look, well, there's Southampton over there. Look, he's doing all right. It's because they've done well. Like, Lallana did really well at Southampton. Lovren, really well at Southampton. Ricky Lambert did really well at Southampton and got a raw deal with Liverpool, the poor guy. Didn't really get a shot, obviously, because we had to cater for the personality of Balotelli and such like that. And obviously, I think it was also Rodgers was a bit scared to make any drastic changes to the team without using maybe some star names or what he thought was star quality. Mane. Now, what I brought up here is I brought up PremierLeague.com and it's got the players' profiles and statistics for 3 players. I brought up Sadio Mane, Adam Lallana and Phil Coutinho. And what it's going to look at is the statistics of each player. Now, the first thing that I noticed, like Sadio Mane right here, 67 appearances, 21 goals. Right, we move straight on to Adam Lallana, who in his years in the Premier League, and this is his years in all of the Premier League, including Southampton, 125 appearances, 21 goals. And Phil Coutinho has got 107 appearances and 21 goals. So the first thing that I noticed there is that obviously Mane has had a lot less appearances in the Premier League and has the same amount of goals as both those 2 players. I'm looking at Lallana and Coutinho because they're probably the most prominent. Firmino, you could argue as well, who had quite a good end of season last year. But those would be the principal people. Possibly looking at Lallana more so as the one that's maybe could be getting moved out a little bit to make room for Mane. But that's just my thoughts right now. Now, as we scroll down, obviously, as you can see, Sadio Mane has obviously been in the Premier League for only 2 seasons. So from 2014-15, 15-16 with Southampton. Now let's see what this looks like to date. So now we're going to look a little bit more in depth at the statistics for each player. Now this one is Sadio Mane. Got 21 goals, 112 shots in total. He's got 9 assists and does obviously a lot of crosses, fair few offsides by the looks of it. So that's his stats right there, as it stands right now from his time in the Premier League with Southampton. Now, looking at Lallana, and we're only looking at his Liverpool statistics because they're the ones that count right now. At the moment, he's had 57 shots, he's had 9 goals and 9 assists. So again, let's compare straight away with Mane, who's had 9 assists as well, but also scored 21 goals in his time at Southampton. So it's a bit, again, I think Lallana's only been with us for 2 seasons. So looking at Lallana's stats there, even just like for goals scored, yes, I think they match on assists. But looking at goals scored, there's a 12-goal difference between the 2 players. And that could play quite a bit of difference, as well as the age of Mane and the age of Lallana, because Lallana's 28, even though he doesn't look it. And then you got Mane, who's 24, still got that time on his side, still looks like a very creative, pacey and powerful player. Let's compare now with Coutinho, who, as you can see, skyrockets with the assists in his time with Liverpool. But this is over 4 seasons since he was with us. 2012 from January 2012 right up until now. Obviously, he skyrockets with the assists. That's absolutely fine. But then you look at the goals as well. 21 goals from 222 shots, that's a hell of a lot of shots. Like, that is an unbelievable amount of shots. So again, we do a comparison. 112 shots, 21 goals. Now, if he was to do 112 shots again, so that would take him to what? 224, and he comes out with something like 42 goals, something like that. That's quite a good player to have in your team. Now, what I would be thinking, now I'm not looking at Mane as a replacement for these guys, for Adam Lallana or for Phil Coutinho or Firmino or anything like that, but having him run around in the wings and such like that, while these guys can focus on being creative instead of having to try and stretch the defence, while they can look for those passes, look for those holes, and create goals themselves. Looking for someone like that who can work from the wings, but also work from the middle as well. Because I think I've heard that he apparently prefers to play from the middle. Then all you're going to add, if what we're adding is adding in boatloads of goals to our team, that's what we need. It's one thing that we've really been lacking. But just to compare Mane with Lallana could be the one that makes way. You never know. You never know what's going to happen because he's got the worst ratio of goals to matches out of the 3 of them, and Mane's got the best one so far. Anyway, look, we've got to look at it like, yes, we are paying a lot of money. If we go out and we spend 34 million on Sadio Mane, doesn't affect me in the slightest, and it doesn't disgust me in the slightest. Why? Because it's not my money. If it was me having to fork out that type of money or contribute that money to the club, hell yeah, I'd be looking at it like, why the hell are we paying this much? But we're not. It doesn't matter what you pay for a player in this modern era of football, because the prices in football and money in football is ridiculous as it is anyway. You might as well just pay the money, see what happens, because, what else can you do? If you don't spend the money, you cannot compete. And especially, we need to be able to compete. There's talk about, like, obviously, we need, in my own personal opinion, we need to spend the money on players like this who aren't necessarily that upper echelon top player that anybody else could technically bring in, like a Chelsea, like a Man City or a Man United and stuff like that. Not necessarily the top player that they could bring in because they've got European competition or because they've got a better modern reputation than we have in the Premier League. We have to go and spend this sort of money to bring these players in, to convince them that we've got a project moving forward and a manager who is fantastic, that's going to move us forward, and I fully believe that. That's why we have to spend that type of money. And it doesn't bother me what type of money. Now, obviously, if we turn around and we've spent 50, 60 million on Mane, I would have to question that a little bit. Even 40 million maybe. But at the end of the day, 30 million, yeah, why not? We've got to try it. He's looking like a great option and alternative to, or a good combination with our other midfielders who are very, very creative, and he's got pace on his side. He can work on the wings. He could cause a lot of damage, and he's caused a lot of damage to a lot of other teams, not just us. So yes, I'm quite positive about this signing. Let's hope, we'll have, I think, 4 signings coming into us by the 1st of July and a full pre-season, which is what a lot of these players, a lot of these types of players, when we had, obviously, Brendan Rodgers, brought in a lot of players that came in late. You had, obviously, Benteke came in late, didn't get a full pre-season. I think full pre-season is so important. And when you see Klopp coming out with quotes like, if we have a pre-season game, then we're gonna prepare for that pre-season game like it is a Premier League match, like it's a cup match or a European match. We're going to prepare as fully and as best as we can, and we're going to try and hopefully put out a strongish lineup to give ourselves a better chance of being prepared for the Premier League starting, which I think has been a big mistake in the past, where it's great to see the youngsters getting bled through in the pre-season matches, but the problem with that is you have these youth players that are getting some time in with some of the first team players, but then you don't use them in the Premier League. So the first team players that you're using in the Premier League haven't necessarily had the match time that the youth players have had. And this is hopefully a good change in mentality, a good change in strategy that will will only do us really well moving forward, I think. And so anyway, I'm going to stop rambling about that signing anyway. I think I'm nothing but positive about it, and I think we need to be positive about it as Liverpool fans. We need to be positive. We need to look at this is going to be our first full season under Jurgen Klopp, and he's making his first signings, and he's making signings that I think are building towards a better full overall squad. Not going to buy superstars, but he's never bought superstars, as far as I'm aware. He's made them. He took players like Agertz and Lewandowski out of obscurity when they weren't really well known, and he built them into players. Marco Reus as well, I think, was another one. I might be wrong on that one. I'm not 100%. But he took these players and he created stars, and I fully believe that he can do that better than I think most, if not all, Premier League managers right now. I have full faith in the man, and I can't wait for this season to start. Other quick transfer news that I'm hearing as well is obviously Mkhitaryan, or however you say his name. I don't know how you say his name. We were linked with him a couple of years ago, I think, before Dortmund signed him. Apparently Dortmund are looking at accepting the 26.5 million that Man United are wanting to pay for him, which would be a good signing for Man United, because I think one of the things they've clearly identified that for some reason Van Gaal didn't, and obviously he was lucky when he got Jesse Lingard playing at the end of the season, scored that screamer goal in the FA Cup, is that they need a bit more pace and creativity out on the wings. That's something that they've missed, something that they've identified pretty quickly, and they might get that one over the line. I think one article I saw was that Dortmund have conceded in trying to keep Mkhitaryan. Honest to God, I might be butchering that name, sorry. So apparently they've conceded in losing him to a transfer, and his preferred destination is Man United. And I think that's a good signing for Man United. As much as I don't like to say it, it is. It's a good signing for Man United if they get it over the line, because he's a very creative player, very pacey, quite powerful. Mkhitaryan is apparently due to have his medical next week. Also next week, apparently, Zlatan Ibrahimovic is going to have his medical under a one-year deal for Man United, who will be a colossus in the Premier League. I don't think his Euro 2016 performance should reflect on how he will do in the Premier League. I think he's still going to be as dangerous as he was at PSG, because the difference with the PSG side than the Sweden side, the PSG side was full of talent. You had Lucas Moura on the wings, you had Di Maria in behind, or on the wing as well sometimes. You had a lot of creative players, Marco Verratti as well, Cavani as well to play off. So now, if you put him in a Man United side, which has got the likes of Juan Mata, Wayne Rooney, Herrera, Schneiderlin, all these different types of players, then you've got a young lad like a Rashford, who can only learn from an Ibrahimovic or play off him, an Anthony Martial, Jesse Lingard, all these different types of players, the young lads they've got coming through. Ibrahimovic is only going to thrive in that environment, I believe. He's only going to have quality players playing to the right-hand side, the left-hand side, behind him. He's willing to drop a little bit deeper to get a bit creative himself. He's a creative player himself. I think he's going to thrive. I think he's going to be a scary player. Do I think he's going to be as prolific as he was at PSG? I don't, but I think that's only because of the difference in quality of the teams up and down the Premier League. But I still think he's going to be quite prolific. Not as prolific at scoring goals, but I think he's going to be very dangerous, and should strike fear into all the Premier League clubs. One other transfer that's happened around the world, not necessarily Premier League, is that Dani Alves has gone to Juventus on a 3-year deal, which surprised me when this one was announced, because I thought he still had it to give to Barcelona. I thought that they were a great club, great match, that style of play that he likes to play, marauding forward and travelling all the way back as well. And he was a really good right back, an attacking right back, but a defending one as well. Going to Juventus, what does that mean for Lichtsteiner? Time will only tell. Is Lichtsteiner, is his time up there? I mean, or is Dani Alves going there as backup, which I can barely believe, because I don't think he'd turn down first team play at Barcelona to go and be a backup to Lichtsteiner. So no idea what this means, but he's certainly gone, and that is all that we can say about that one, really. A bit of a strange one. Obviously, with Mascherano also being linked to move away from Barcelona as well, is there something going on at Barcelona that we don't all know about, or that, maybe you guys do know about, and you can let us know in the comments. I will be doing a full transfer talk video about things around the Premier League once I've had time to actually look at the transfers around the Premier League and stuff like that, so bear with us on that one. I will try and get that out later on this week, maybe Thursday or Friday. If you've enjoyed this video, please drop a like on the video, Share it around if you'd like. Subscribe if you're new around here, and I'll catch you later.